Hello again, everyone. This is Randy, your sewing machine man. We're looking at a Kenmore 385, fully automatic, free arm, 15 class, front load. Nice little machine. Came in today, locked up, wouldn't go. Customer said the hand wheel is locked up. I said, well, I've been meaning to make a video on that little issue, so let's go. See if I can get this going and get it so it makes sense for you here real quick. All right, let's get this started and then we'll focus on it and see if we can't get this going to where it makes sense for you. And go. Okay, here's one that I've been anxious to make because it's a pretty common situation. Special machine, people are getting machines out. Let me study that a little bit. If you get enough coffee, you can really jump around. All right. Trying to get this point across to people, I've always said that a sewing machine is not an instrument, it's an orchestra. A little play on words there, because everything on a sewing machine is attached to everything on a sewing machine. When someone says my hand wheel is locked up, over here on the side, the hand wheel, when they say the hand wheel's locked up, what could it be? Well, there's a way of finding that out. Troubleshooting a lockup on a machine will always, 99 times out of 100, bring you down to this area here. And it's like counterintuitive to think, well, why is this causing all this to be locked up? Because everything is connected via connectors or belts or pulleys or gears or whatever your machine has. If this area is locked up, and this is the area I encourage people to oil, because when it locks up, everything stops. Now, this is an analog machine. There's no electronics on it, so nobody's getting a code. They're just finding out that when they turn the hand wheel, nothing goes. So they think the hand wheel's locked up. But I always test it this way. This is the way I always test it. If something's moving, it's not locked up. That's just by definition. Like when people tell me their machine is broken. I say, you mean there's a piece laying here and over there's another piece? No. So it's not working. All these words are very important, because not working and broken are two different things. All right? If you drop a glass on a floor and it's a glass and it shatters, well, it's broken. It's pretty obvious. But if it's dirty and out of commission, it's not broken. It's just out of commission. So this one's out of commission, not broken, but it's locked up. Now, how do I figure out it's down here? Well, I always know it's down here, but here's how you can know it's down here. You start out with your hand wheel. The hand wheel's locked up. It's not moving at all. Oh, but it is. And this little piece of black on here tells me that watch. It is moving. Every machine has a little bit of play, a little bit of movement. You say, okay, it's moving. What else is moving? Not locked up. What would that be? All right, let's tilt it up here. Sorry about all this. It's the only way I know how to do it. I don't have a crew and a staff and a bunch of video people, so let's move the hand wheel again and focus on the take-up assembly in here. I bet that'll focus even better. Give me a good look at that in there. See it trying to move? It's trying to move. Watch the needle bar. Whoa, trying to move. Everything's trying to move. So you know that everything from here to over, none of this is locked up. It's all moving. We get down to the hook assembly area, and we see that it is absolutely, let me flip this down here. It is absolutely, when that moves up on top, right there, see how that's moving up and down, that needle clamp? We look down here, not moving. It is stationary. Well, what's causing that? Something on that system, all the way over here. Let me flip it back up. And follow all the way over to the right. See, okay, over here is what drives that mechanism. Let's get some light on this subject. Down here, get some light on it. And then back in here, my finger knife, right? Back in here, that drives the hook, which is connected to the top shaft, which is moving. You say, well, if we're getting movement from this, it's not locked up here. It has to be locked up over there because this won't move. So we get a hold of the hand wheel and we see if that's going to move. And look, I don't know if you can see that ever so slightly. There it goes. It's moving, but the hook is still not moving. So your job at that point, I talk about patience and penetrating oil. Patience, because you're not going to snap your fingers and this thing's going to take off running. Everybody thinks they're going to put some penetrating oil on this and they're going to snap their fingers and voila, it's going to start. No, you wish. It's going to be a while. So what you have to do is put your penetrating oil where it will do the most good, and that will be right here. See, let's get it right there. Penetrating oil right there, and a little bit more back here, because that whole shaft that goes back to that nylon gear is frozen up. That whole shaft is bereft of lubrication. Got none. This has to start moving, and it doesn't have to start moving by much. Once you get it going in the right direction, you're gold. So sometimes you have to push on one side or the other. Push on it. Push on it. And if you can push on it and you notice it's starting to budge, whichever way it wants to go, you let it go. When you get a hold of that daggone hand wheel, let's see if I can set this here for a second. It's unfortunate. Put that right there. Push on it. Oh, look. Push on it. Push on it. Do the camera here. I can't see it. You push on it. Back and forth. And it's resisting. It's hard. But once you get it moving, you know you found the right spot. Now the hand wheel's starting to cooperate. And I'm going to sign off on this contraption. And then the next you'll see is this machine sewing like brand new. Because A, it's a Kenmore. It's a 385. You know, it's not my favorite iteration of a Kenmore, but it's a pretty good one. I think Janome made these a pretty good little unit. So let me sign off on this one, and we'll get it stitched out, and we'll come back. And here we are back to real time, and here's the little guy. And I was pretty confident that it was going to turn out okay because I've done hundreds of these, and as they sit without being used, I get more and more. Hardly a day goes by that somebody doesn't call me and they say, my machine's locked up. When's the last time you used it? Oh, 20 years ago. Well, every 20 years or so, they're going to need to be serviced, whether they like it or not. And this little guy is going to make a nice little machine. All the built-in stitches, overlocks, buttonhole, a real nice machine. Now, it's got the nylon gear in there, but they don't fail unless you do something goofy, like try to do something you shouldn't. You know, sew on something like really, really heavy stuff, a steady diet. The only one I've seen that broke, it was in an industrial application, and they got it to do something, and they got carried away and was making stuff in an industrial application, and let's just see if it'll work. And it tore up the nylon gear in there, and that's rare. So they're good little machines. They will get locked up. You know what I do to this one here? I took the hook out, I polished the point of it, make sure it's nice and sharp. You look around the needle plate, make sure there's no dings there, service the bobbin winder. Everything that moves, anything that hinges, rotates, pivots, or slides, you give it a drop of oil. And in here you'll see everything that needs oil. There's a little oil journal. There's a little place, a little hole for oil, and you put a drop in. And the hook assembly down there where your hook runs back and forth, where the hook rolls back and forth, you put it needle at the highest point. Take your bobbin case out if you want to, but with your needle at your highest point, you put a drop of oil down here inside the shuttle area. So it's not metal against metal, it's actually metal against oil against metal. So it's running on a thin layer of oil. And these things will run for a long, long time. They got a fractional horsepower motor in there. So when I back up, it hits the exact same holes as on the way down. Just about. That is pretty precision. Not bad little machines. I recommend them. Just don't think they're going to sew, you know, the magical heavy duty stuff. So good little machine. It's locked up. It's worth your time, worth your effort. Little penetrating oil, little patient. No pounding, no prying, no cussing, no fussing. It's just a matter of being patient. You saw I push with my fingers while I move the hand wheel. And once you get it rolling, that oil, that penetrating oil, will feed down that shaft and get to where it needs to be, and you'll be running just as good as new. Nice little machine. Kenmore 385, front load, 15 class. Good stuff.